Empowered greetings, friend. It's Dr. Delatorro. Listen, if you want to quit your job, I completely understand. See, most people are caught between their dream and their job, their paycheck and their promise, their destiny and their daily routine. You might be sitting at home right now and you're like, man, I really want to have a dream of doing something really amazing with my life, but every single day I get up and go to a job, a just over broke. You know, the USA Today did a study. They said most employers pay employees just enough so that they won't quit. And most employees work hard enough for employers just to not get fired. So a lot of people are kind of settling. And listen, my friend, there's so much misinformation out there about how to build a successful business. And I want to help you with that because I've been a successful entrepreneur for 20 years, 2 decades. I've been a successful entrepreneur as a full-time speaker. People ask me all the time, man, how do you make a full-time dream out of this speaking thing? And so I want to help you with that. So grab a pen, grab your paper, and do me a favor, fire off in the comments and let me know that this stuff is resonating with you because listen, we're going to produce powerful content that's going to transform you and take you to the next level. Ready? Let's rock. Let's help you take your life to the next level. You want to quit. I get it. Do you know the most important thing I learned about living my dream is that I had to get clear about what I really wanted, okay? When I talk to most people who are, I want to quit my job, I hate what I do for a living, blah, blah, blah. I get it. You don't like what you do for a living. You drive almost an hour to work a job that you don't enjoy, to make money that your expenses have already outgrown. That's frustrating. It's difficult and it's challenging. How do we get out of that stuck place? How do we get out of that place where there's more month left over at the end of the money? How do we get out of that? First thing you gotta do, my friend, is you gotta get clear. When I was broke, had no money, and was losing my house, my credit score was jacked up, the first thing I had to do is I had to get clear. I want to be a professional speaker. I want to be a professional keynote speaker. I had to get clear about that. I had to look myself in the mirror and say that. I had to write that down. And I also got clear about this. I said, never again am I gonna let somebody else determine my destiny. It's time for me to get in the driver's seat of my own life, and it's time for me to make some different decisions. I remember sitting on the floor, the tile floor downstairs in my 2-story townhome in West Chase in Florida, and I made that decision. I said, never again am I gonna let somebody else determine my destiny. I'm gonna get in the driver's seat of my life and I'm gonna build my dream. Get your pen and get your paper out, let's go. Because I need you to get clear. You gotta get clear. If you say, hey, man, I see myself doing what I see Tony Robbins doing and Dr. Delatorro doing and Les Brown doing and Eric Thomas doing and Mel Robbins doing and Danny Johnson doing and what Lisa Nichols is doing, and I see what Ali Brown is doing, and I see what Marie Forleo is doing, I see what all these, Brene Brown, I see what all these amazing speakers are doing. I wanna do that. Then my friend, you gotta do this first, and you can do it with very little money down. I'm gonna teach you a powerful strategy. Check this out. You gotta get clear about what you really want. So I want you to write this in the comments. I want to be an in-demand keynote speaker. Write that in the comments. Second thing that you gotta do is you gotta find, watch this family, this is powerful, this is where it gets fun. You gotta find, if you don't have any money, you gotta find a dream job. You gotta find a dream job. Now this is where it starts to get sexy and fun, all right? You gotta find a dream job. Your job is here, your dream is over here. You gotta find a bridge between those two land masses, okay? I live in Florida, right? So between Tampa and St. Pete, you can't get to St. Pete without going over a bridge, can't get to Clearwater without going over a bridge. You need a bridge to get you from one land mass to the other. So to get you from your job, which you don't enjoy, to your dream, where you get to travel the world, doing what you love, getting in front of audiences, changing lives, impacting people, selling out of your books and programs and courses and masterminds and all the great stuff you want to offer humanity, right? Getting the respect, getting the credibility, getting the notoriety, getting the following, all that stuff that comes along with an amazing speaking career. If you want to get to the promised land of that, you got to create a bridge. That's exactly what I did. And that's what I teach other people how to do. What is your dream job? A dream job is a temporary salaried position with a company or an organization that will pay you an income. Watch this. And that dream job will pay you an income to practice your presentation skills on them. So here's what I mean by that. When I was transitioning out of my job into my full-time dream, my dream job was a 2-year position at the University of South Florida. I worked at the University of South Florida for 2 years as an adjunct professor teaching public speaking, and I also worked in the instructional systems design, the curriculum design and development division, the Department of Education. So those are the 2 things I did. My master's degree is in curriculum design, it's in instructional systems. So I had a chance to do what I was working on in my graduate program, and I also had a chance to teach public speaking. So I was going to work, getting a paycheck from USF to teach public speaking, something that I would ultimately end up doing in my entrepreneurial dream full time. But I was doing it from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. every single day. Now, when I got that dream job position at the University of South Florida, guess what it did for me? It gave me a chance to practice my dream. Write that down in the comments. It gave me a chance to practice my dream on another organization while I built up my confidence, while I built up my clientele, while I built up my content. Write those three things down: confidence, my clientele, and my content. So how does this apply to you? I want you to figure out and find a way to find a dream job in your city, in your town, or even online that allows you to practice presenting, practice speaking. Maybe it's a instructor position, a professor position, a teaching position, an educational position, a coaching position, a consulting position, right? A training position. Find a way to practice the skill of speaking or presenting or teaching or educating or training or coaching, right? On another organization, so that way you can get paid by them. And when you're not working for them, you're building your confidence, your clientele, and your content. Does that make sense? Fire off in the comments, is that making sense to me? The third thing that you gotta do is, while I was working my dream job, I was making $40,000 a year at the University of South Florida, I had to scale back my expenses. So listen, when you're broke, right, the worst thing you can do is try to go out there and floss like you got it going on. So this isn't the time to try to act like you got it all going on and go out there spending all this other kind of stuff. Listen, if you don't have $1,000 in your bank, why buy a $1,000 purse? If you don't have $5,000 in the bank, don't buy a $5,000 outfit. Does that make sense? So start to scale back on your expenses, because it takes money to build a dream. So what I really want to encourage you to do is to start to scale back on some of your expenses as you transition out of your job to transition into your dream, so you have less liability to carry around. Really, really important tip. I did that. Number 4, the magic. Your best friend, your money. Man, let me tell you this. When you're transitioning out of your job into your dream, your money is in 3 areas: nights, write these down in the comments, weekends, and lunch breaks. Here's what I would do. With no money, y'all. At night, after I left my dream job at USF, I would go to networking events for free. I would speak at those networking events when I was given an opportunity. I would go to Toastmasters meetings in the evenings for free. I would join Toastmasters, right? And I would go to different Toastmasters Club meetings. Now, there's a small cost to join and be a member of Toastmasters, but once you pay that quarterly fee or annual fee, you get to go to weekly meetings for free. Does that make sense? So in the evenings, I was speaking, right? On weekends, I would go to different locations in Florida where other top speakers were, and I would serve them. So if Les Brown was coming into town, if Dr. Willie Jolly was coming into town, if Tony Robbins was coming into town, if Zig Ziglar was coming into town back then, right? If Brian Tracy was coming into town to do a seminar and it was down in Orlando, Dr. Stephen Covey back then was doing an event and it was in Sarasota, I would contact their office, let them know that I was a speaker, I was an aspiring speaker, and I wanted to serve. I wanted to work their product table. I wanted to find a way to kind of support what they were doing. And that put me in the room. Yo, I did this for free. That's how I spent my weekends, going to other speakers' events, serving them, working their product table, learning how they did what they did. Come on, somebody, I want you to type this in the comments, say, I can do this. This is stuff you can do. Doesn't cost you any money, right? On lunch breaks, y'all, instead of spending an hour talking to your coworkers and colleagues who also don't like what they do for a living, why don't you spend that hour working on your content, building your social media followers, putting some really good Instagram reels out there, or TikTok, right? Building your social media audience, right? Writing articles for LinkedIn. These are all things that cost you nothing. Researching your topic, starting writing on your book. These are all things you can do on lunch breaks. So instead of sitting around talking gossip with other people who hate the job that you're working at, use your lunch breaks to do something more productive. Use your lunch breaks to research. Use your lunch breaks to write. Use your lunch breaks to be more powerful and really start creating your content. I mean, what if you just spent 15 minutes every single day for 5 days working on your book? That hour and a half worth of content that you now have towards your book, do that for a month, do that for 3 months, look where you're at. Does that make sense? Life is hard by the yard, but if you take it by the inch, you'll find out life is a cinch.
Good one.
I wrote 2 books while I was working my dream job, so that when I transitioned full-time as a speaker, I had 2 books already published. So that's income just waiting for me to be able to scale once I became a full-time speaker. Does that make sense? Gangster stuff, friends. I know that you can do this stuff, and writing a book in your downtime costs you nothing. Serving another speaker that's coming into your city anyway and working their product table costs you nothing. Building your own content costs you nothing. Putting a TikTok or Instagram reel together costs you nothing. Writing an article for LinkedIn costs you nothing, but it builds your respect, builds your credibility, builds your esteem, builds your confidence, starts building your clientele. Does that make sense?
We get it.
And then number 5, once you go on Indeed, LinkedIn, jobs, etc., and you put your resume out there to find your dream job, land that dream job. For me, it was USF, University of South Florida. For you, it could be whoever. Once you land that dream job, leverage it. okay? So I leveraged my opportunity at the University of South Florida speaking, and it was amazing, it was powerful. I was able to not only teach public speaking, but every time the University of South Florida was doing different events and programs, guess what? I offered my services to speak for those different programs. When the university would bring in speakers, guess who would volunteer?
Genius, genius!
So when Stephen Covey came to the University of South Florida College of Business, guess who volunteered to serve him for the day? When Dr. John Maxwell came to the University of South Florida College of Education, guess who volunteered to interview him for the university's podcast? When different entertainers and talent came to the university, guess who was in a position to get close to said speakers? So not only did I land the dream job, but I leveraged it once I got it. When I went full-time as a speaker in 2003, guess where I spent the first 6 years of my speaking career? Yep, speaking to colleges and universities. I spent the first 6 years of my speaking career speaking at colleges and universities. Why? Because my dream job taught me almost everything I needed to know about that particular market. So if your dream job puts you in the medical industry, maybe the first couple of your speaking career, you're speaking to mostly healthcare organizations. Or if your particular dream job puts you in the financial services industry, maybe your first couple of clients coming out are gonna be in that space, or the hospitality industry. Does that make sense? Or in the direct sales industry. So you can find your dream job anywhere. Just look for an opportunity where another company will pay you salary and benefits and allow you to use your gifts and talents of speaking and presentation, teaching, coaching, training, instruction, right, on them, and do a great job for them. But on nights, weekends, and lunch breaks, you better be focused on feeding your dream and making that dream happen. Does that make sense? And if you pay attention, I mentioned one more bonus thing I said throughout this is make sure that you join a really good Toastmasters club, right? I'm a firm believer that a great Toastmasters club can have a great impact on your ascension as a speaker when you're starting out, right? You get to go to weekly meetings, and if you need help with this, we'll put the link in the description, but you can literally just go to toastmasters.org, type in your zip code, okay? And you'll find Toastmasters clubs all over the country and all over the world, right? It's the largest public speaking organization on planet Earth. And I've been fortunate enough to be featured in Toastmasters magazine 4 times. I've also been fortunate enough to be the opening keynote speaker for the Toastmasters World Convention. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I can tell you that I always encourage my students to leverage Toastmasters as an opportunity to practice their gifts and talents and go to weekly meetings to get better as a speaker. And I think it's really, really important. And then once you've gone to those meetings on a weekly basis and you start building your confidence and you start getting to practice your content and you start getting some clients, they'll start referring you to other opportunities. You can even compete. So that's just a bonus that you can do as well. So these are all things that you can do with absolutely no money. I can't tell you how many clients I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with over the years who were broke, had no money, and they were going through massive transitions in their personal life. Divorce, disease, diagnosis, bad debt, poor decisions, depression. You know, I call them the D's, right? They went through all kinds of stuff in their personal life, and it was causing them to be broke and have no money. But guess what? They were able to start implementing some of these steps in the process. And because of that, they were able to transition powerfully into their speaking dreams. And now they're making, as a result of the coaching and mentoring that I was able to give them and provide to them after they invested in working with me, now they're making 6 and 7 figures, living their dreams. Now they're making those 5-figure speaking engagements. They're making speaking fees that's got commas in them. Come on, somebody. And I'm a living witness that it can happen for you too, my friend. So I hope you've enjoyed and got massive value out of this video, taking crazy notes, and you're putting together your action plan. Listen, if you're really excited about going to the next level and scaling, reach out to one of our team members. We cannot wait to serve you. We cannot wait to add value to you. I've got hundreds of students who have been radically successful transitioning out of their job, transitioning into living their speaking dreams, and I want you to be our next billboard. Can't wait to see you in the next video. If you're stuck, you're not stuck anymore. If you want to quit making excuses. Do this instead. Let's live the dream together. Can't wait to see you out there living the dream. Till then, I believe that this is your year to shift your speaking career into a higher gear. Talk soon.